In the previous chapter, we saw how we could make our PDF files interactive for our users. Now we're going to show you how to use InDesign to make interactive Flash files that can be put on websites, either as an ad, as part of a website, and you can in fact build an entire website from InDesign, although there are certain problems with it that I'll point out at the end. Well, first of all, we're going to take a look at the basics, how animation works, and then we're going to build a practical example. First of all, I've got my workspace here set for animation. Now, if you go to the default interactive workspace, I have changed it here, let me reset it, it'll come up something like this. However, I've just got one that I've built here to make everything compact, but most of the items that you see in the default one are going to be here for us. So, what we want to do is create some animation. This is the new panel that's available in InDesign where you can animate objects on your page. We'll use it in conjunction with the buttons panel, and then we'll be able to preview it using this preview. This is one of the best things in InDesign CS5 because anything you built previously for interactive use, you'd have to export it and then view it in PDF or Flash, whichever way you were going. So here we can preview it right away. We can't preview it directly on the page. So before we can make anything interactive, we've got to turn it into a button. We saw that in the previous movie. So let me just select this and come over to our buttons and click here to create a button. And we'll call this one polenta. And we'll click on this one. We'll call it ice cream. And the last one we'll call nachos. And that's our 3 buttons there. Don't do anything at the moment, but now that we have turned them into buttons, we can turn them into animated objects. So let's start here. We'll go over here, and whatever one you select here, you'll notice that the name shows up here. Here we can choose from one of the presets, and there's a lot of them built in. We can choose to appear, and here it just pops up like that, appear. Fade in. You can see it fades in like that. Well, that doesn't make a lot of sense. What we've got to do is look at our preview button. So if we click here, you can see every time we refresh it, that just fades in. It was very quick. So one of the things you can do here is come over here to your animation and change the duration. Now it's on for 1 second. Let's change that to 3 seconds. Come over here, preview, and now it just takes longer to fade in. Now, as well as the options for presets, which there are a huge amount of them, see how there are some different flyouts for some of the options here, bounce, large and small like that, dance even. You can see the little preview there, how it does it. There are a lot of options down here, which we'll get into most of them as we start moving along. Notice the events on page load, on page click, on click self, on rollover. For example, if I choose on click self, come over here to our preview again, click on it, and it does it. Now you'll notice when I preview it here, it did the animation, didn't wait for me to click on it. So if we go back here, you can see now when I choose this that on page load is checked as well as on click self. So I need to turn that off if I don't want it to dance in this case until click, or in this case we'll choose on rollover. But if I hit on rollover self, you'll notice that in this case on click didn't stay checked. But every time you choose an animation, it says on load, on page load, and you almost always have to go back and change that. So let's go to it now, animate it. Notice now that it didn't animate, but as soon as I roll over it, it starts animating like this. So these are some of the little nuances that you'll see with it, and as we go through, we'll learn a little bit more.